Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are every day. People like to welcome you all to the show. Today, we're going to talk about Zwarte Piet, Zwarte and Piet, which is the same as Black Pete. That's how you pronounce it in Dutch, right? Now, I'm going to get into who was Black Pete, right? Indonesian, it's Piet Hitam, another name for Black Pete. Black Pete is the companion of Saint Nicholas. In Dutch, it's Santa Claus, right? The character first appeared in an 1850 book by Amsterdam school teacher Jane Schnickman. Traditionally, Zwarte Piet is black because he is a Moor from Spain. Right. Traditionally, Black Pete, right, is a Moor from Spain. Those portraying Zwarte Piet in Dutch, aka Black Pete, usually put on black face and colorful Renaissance attire in addition to curly wigs and bright red lipstick, right? And you say, well, what's the connection with the Renaissance? Basically, Renaissance is about the Moors educating and bringing forth the Caucasian or European into enlightenment, right? Renaissance times, right? Now, in Dutch society and throughout European society, they black their face up, put on curly wigs and Moorish attire, right? And parade in the streets. And a lot of people took offense to that. But what they really were saying was, thank you, Moors or Black Pete, for teaching us civilization, right? Rudolph nose God in the reindeer actually represents the North Star. And Black Pete represents the Moors who taught the Europeans how to navigate using the North Star. And that's how they were able to move about throughout the earth. But yet they used that gift to gain gifts by pillaging and plumaging the native people on the planet Earth. From Europe all the way to the Americas. They was gathering gold and things that they were bringing back to Europe, and they were handing it out to the European kids, giving them things and showing them things that they rarely would see, because you got to remember, in those European climates where it's cold and gray and rainy, they're not seeing a lot of gold. The Moors in the Middle East was already making clocks and robotic birds and all of this, and so Black Pete helped them to navigate and get some of these treasures and bring them back to Europe. And that's the story of Black Pete and Santa Claus, as it stated. He was a Moor from Spain. Now, check this out. According to Helene Adelin and other historians, the origin of Santa Claus and his helpers have been linked by some to the wild hunt of Odin. While riding the white horse Sleipnir, he flew through the air as the leader of the wild hunt. He was always accompanied by two black ravens, Hugin, which is Huginn, and Munin, which is Muninn. Those helpers would listen, just like Zwarte Piet or Black Pete, at the chimneys of the homes they visited to tell Odin about the good and the bad behavior of the mortals below. So that's where you would get in America, they created the black man or the peeping Tom as though he was looking into the windows in the homes of the whites, but they was bringing a old tradition with them from Europe to the Americas, saying that black man looking through your door, he going to tell the guards on you at your misbehaving. So they would throw stuff at the black man, or always accusing us of spoiling their fun. Okay. The St. Nicholas tradition contains a number of elements that are not ecclesiastical in origin. In medieval iconography, St. Nicholas is sometimes presented as taming a chained demon who may or may not be black. However, no hint of a companion, demon servant, or any other human or human-like fixed companion to the saint is focused in visual and textual sources from the Netherlands from the 16th until the 19th century. You all know what did they do to the Moors after the Moors was defeated in Spain? They called them demons. They called them monsters. According to a long-standing theory first proposed by Carl Mason, Zwart Piet, aka Black Pete, and his equivalents in Germany, Europe, were originally presented as one or more enslaved demons forced to assist their captor. Right. So they're saying that the Moors that they captured, they forced them to assist the Europeans in their quest for dominance and power, because the Moors had the knowledge, they knew how to navigate, and they traveled all over the world, right? And some were pirates, right? Okay. Let's finish. These chained and fiery scorched demons now, they were scorched meaning black. These chained and fiery scorched demons may have been redeveloped as black-skinned humans during the early 19th century in the Netherlands in the likeness of Moors who worked as servants for St. Nicholas, right? Now, the Moors was all over in the Netherlands, which shows you that black people had already been in Europe and was in Europe before the Europeans came up out of the Caucasus Mountains. Okay, but somehow did the Moors aid the Caucasians freely, or did the Caucasians overpower the Moors in that region and force them to give them aid or help them, right, in their quest? You know, now, from what I'm understanding is that knowledge was a right to know, and the Moors swore an oath to teach those who were deemed uncivilized, right? Now, check this out. They got a movie out right now for this Christmas season, and it's called The Fat Man, right? And The Fat Man is about a kid with money who's hiring a hitman to kill Santa Claus. But in this movie, Santa Claus' wife is black, wearing red lipstick, which, i.e., is simulating the character Black Pete, because she assisted Santa Claus in all his aid, gave him knowledge, made sure he was warm, made sure he ate. You know, she was the backbone behind Santa Claus, like the Moor was the backbone behind Santa Claus, or behind the rise of the Caucasians, right? So now you ask, well, the answer to why do Hollywood want to see black actors and comedians wearing dresses, right? Because the role is reversed. See, in Caucasian-dominated society, helping or lending a helping hand is considered a feminine aspect, because in white dominant society, it's pillar and plunder and take what you can, and you have no empathy or sympathy for others, right? But when black people ruled, and particularly the Moors ruled, it was all about help those who can't help themselves, because that helps to create a better society overall. Give knowledge to those who don't have knowledge, because that helps benefit you as well. But it had been reversed. So they made the black man in white dominant society take on a feminine aspect role, because they felt it was feminine for man to help man. But in black tradition, man helped man, man helped woman, woman helped man, woman helped woman. It was about a betterment of society and whatever it took. So that's why you can see how black people, being up under the rule of the Caucasians or the slave master, how we took on the attitude of, I ain't helping that nigga. Nigga on his own, the hell with that. Man, you better go find, like it was weak for us to want to see somebody else do good, and even often to aid them or help them in their quest to do good. You would be criticized, and fights break out, or we say, damn, if you know, won't you share with others so they can know too? Or the crab in the bucket mentality, or I got mine, you go get yours. That was the mentality that we adopted from the being under the rule of the colonizer, right? Okay. One or more demons working as helpers for the saint can still be found in various Australian, German, Swiss, Hungarian, Czech, Slovak, and Polish St. Nicholas traditions in the character of Krampus, Pierre Fountard, Klaubauf, which is Klaubauf, and Belsnickel. These companions of St. Nicholas are often depicted as a group of closely related figures who accompanied St. Nicholas through the territories formerly controlled by the Holy Roman Empire. The characters act as foils to the benevolent gift giver or strict disciplinarians who threaten to trash or abduct disobedient children. Right. Mythologist Jacob Grimm associated the character with the pre-Christian spirit kobold, who could be either benevolent or malicious. So they had a pre-Christian spirit called kobold. We have to get into that at a later date, the understanding meaning of kobold and where did that derive from. The introduction of Black Pete did coincide by and large with a change in the depiction of the Santa Claus character. Prior to this change, he was often quite strict toward poorly behaved children and often presented as a sort of boogeyman. Many of the terrifying characteristics that were later associated with Black Pete were often attributed to him. The presentation of a holy man in this light was troubled by both teachers and priests. After the introduction of Black Pete as Santa Claus' servant, both characters adopted more gentle personas, meaning that before, Black Pete was the spiritual guide and was the leader to Santa Claus and the Europeans. But the religious leaders, the Pope, the white religious leaders, when they was instilling that racism and prejudice, was like, nah, we can't have Black Pete as the leader. We gotta make him a servant, and we gotta put the white man out front. Black Pete, you're gonna have to be the servant, even though you brought all these gifts and you taught us how to do this and you taught us how to navigate. You civilized the Moors, uplifted us, but we're gonna have to portray you in society as the servant. And everybody agreed with that, and the tensions, they eased. Everybody was calm when they put the lie out front. The lyrics of older traditional Santa Claus songs, still sung today, warn that Santa Claus and his assistant now will leave well-behaved children present, but punish those who have been naughty. They might even take very poorly behaved children to their homeland of Spain, right? They might even take very poorly behaved children to their homeland of Spain, which is where the Moors came when they went into the Dutch area, in burlap sacks, where, according to legendary, they'll be forced to assist them in their workshop for an entire season or longer. Meaning, you finna be an indentured servant in the Moors' workshops for a year or longer is your sentence. Then they'll send you back to Europe. But you working in the Moors' workshops as indentured servants. Be giving you the whole rundown in history of Santa Claus and Black Pete. Right. These songs and stories also warn that a child who has been only slightly naughty will receive a bundle of birch twigs or a lump of coal instead of gifts. Right. Showing you that to be disciplined, to be upright is a virtue. And they was teaching civilization because the moral character of the Caucasian coming up out of the Caucasus Mountains, they was such in a deplorable condition that they had to have strict guidelines in order to get them to even appear and act civilized. Right. And the Moors had a hard time with that. And they changed the story around. Rarely talk about the Moors. Then they tried to disappear us. And here we are today. So you all do your research, but I just wanted to give you a brief understanding of the Black Pete, Moor from Spain, and him accompanying one that they call Santa Claus, right here on Verbal Peak Radio.